In modern life, we often get caught in the relentless whirlpool of information every day. We have to deal with too much information from various sources, which keeps our minds constantly working and thinking. The more we try to comprehend, the more we tend to worry. And excessive worry can exhaust our minds and deplete our energy. This is a sign that our body is warning us that we have been overthinking. However, this is also the moment when our body is helping us eliminate unnecessary thoughts, which is the first step in the self-healing process. And the following story will help you empathize with yourself more on the path of self-healing. Once upon a time, in a distant mountain monastery, there were over 100 monks living and practicing meditation every day, under the guidance of a very wise master. The monastery was renowned for having many accomplished disciples who were dedicated to the path of spiritual awakening. One day, a man arrived seeking to become a disciple at the monastery. He submitted his application with only a blank piece of paper. He went to meet the head of the monastery with a sincere and humble voice and said,
"Venerable Master, I wish to seek the truth of enlightenment, even though I do not know how to read or write. I want to learn."
He was the first and only person to ever come to the monastery. Without any prior knowledge, observing his simplicity and sincerity, the head of the monastery looked at him and said, "If you want to know the truth of enlightenment, you must dedicate your entire life to this quest. It may take your whole lifetime to understand, or you may not comprehend it in this lifetime at all." The man replied,
"Venerable Master, I'm here because I have this question in my heart, and I want to know it. I am willing to give my life for this quest."
The master said, "If that's the case, you must start by doing a particular task. You will be responsible for grinding rice in the monastery from morning till night. When you get tired, you should sleep, but do not think about anything else. Just focus entirely on grinding the rice. Do not come to see me, and do not speak to anyone. Concentrate solely on grinding the rice." The man obediently followed the master's instructions and began grinding rice. More than 100 other disciples relied on the rice he ground to prepare their daily meals. So he would wake up early in the morning and begin grinding rice until late in the evening. He would continue this task until he grew weary, at which point he would retire to his room to rest, the very room where he ground the rice. During this entire time, he maintained complete silence, not uttering a word to anyone, and no one approached him for conversation. Everyone was busy with their works. As months passed by, everyone in the monastery remained engrossed in their respective tasks. During this time, the man continued to grind rice in solitude. His mind was constantly filled with thoughts, but he resisted adding new thoughts each day. Gradually, those thoughts began to dissipate. After a few years, he had forgotten even his own name. He maintained a state of silence and complete concentration. He would grind the rice without any awareness of what was happening in the outside world. After a decade had passed, one day, the abbot of the monastery realized that his time on earth was coming to an end. He had a significant responsibility, which was to find a successor to carry on his teachings. He announced to all his disciples that his life was nearing its end, and he needed to choose a worthy successor. He asked, "Who among my disciples has truly realized self-awareness?" He requested them to write a few lines expressing their thoughts on paper and place it outside his door that night. The content should encompass their experiences in self-awareness. One of the senior disciples, a seasoned scholar well-versed in Buddhist scriptures and highly regarded by the others, wrote a few lines. He was considered a potential candidate to succeed the master. The senior disciple wrote that the mind is like a mirror covered in dust, and to clean it, one must meditate continuously until the dust is removed. When the mirror of the mind becomes clear and pure, that person attains liberation. When the master woke up in the morning and saw these lines, he became furious. He exclaimed, Who is the foolish one who wrote these meaningless words? The disciple who had written the response remained silent in the face of the abbot's anger and disappointment. Nevertheless, the words he had written contained profound insights, but they appeared to be more theoretical knowledge from books rather than true self-awareness. As a result, the master rejected the writings of the senior disciple. This decision surprised everyone in the monastery, and it became a topic of discussion among the monks. While discussing this matter, 2 other disciples happened to pass by the place where the rice grinder was working. They shared with the rice grinder the story of what had transpired in the morning, and he smiled and replied,
"Those writings are indeed meaningless and worthless."
The 2 disciples became angry because they believed that the rice grinder didn't understand anything about Buddhist scriptures. The 2 disciples asked him if he could write better lines. The rice grinder replied, "I don't know how to write, but if you can write it for me, I'll be happy to tell you." They agreed, and the rice grinder spoke a few words. The 2 disciples wrote them down on paper and signed the name of the rice grinder below. Together, they brought it to the master's room. Both of these disciples hope that the master will react angrily as before to punish him. He said that the soul is just an illusion. There is no soul, and there is no mirror of the soul. When the soul does not contain any impurities, it cannot practice meditation. Those who understand this have realized the truth. When the master read these writings, he got up in the middle of the night and went to meet the rice grinder disciple. While he was asleep, he woke him up and said, "Take this, my staff and robe. From now on, you must leave this monastery tonight and go far away. For I know that in this monastery, there are many scholars who consider themselves superior. They will shun you and harm you because no one can accept that a disciple who doesn't know how to read or write is their master. I know that wherever you go, people will come to you like a blooming flower, and its fragrance will spread everywhere. Thank you for coming here." The rice grinder disciple was also very sad to hear the master's words, but later he bowed to the master and left the monastery on the same night. You see, in life, to attain wisdom and enlightenment, it's not just through studying and thinking. We don't necessarily have to eliminate all the dust from our souls, and no one can do that. But thanks to that dust, we become aware of our strengths and weaknesses through the meditation journey. And meditation doesn't mean you just sit still in one place. We can meditate even while working. It's just a matter of being fully present and engaged in the task at hand, immersing yourself in it, and turning that work into a meditation journey. Because the true essence of meditation is focusing on the present moment and loving the work that you are doing. Thank you for watching. Take care and we'll see you soon.